The biggest issue most people face when it comes to speaking is the ability to not articulate their thoughts. And it's very frustrating because you have the knowledge in your brain. You know your stuff. And you're intelligent. You have read books. You have listened to podcasts. But you can't just communicate that value to other people. You can't influence other people because it just feels like you can't come up with the right words. You can't describe the things you see in your head. I used to be in the same boat, and for the longest time, I just couldn't describe the things I felt inside. And before going into a conversation, like I knew that I was going to be talking about a certain topic, but then when the moment came, I just couldn't. I just couldn't articulate the thoughts like I wanted to. And people got confused, people didn't really understand me, and thus people didn't respect me. But after studying communication, after studying the greatest speakers, and going deep into the rabbit hole, reading books, going through the materials, going through the studies on how to articulate your thoughts clearly, I've realized that it's really not that hard. There are three things I want to share with you today, and a bonus one, all right? You're watching this, so I will give you a bonus one today. There are three things plus the bonus that will truly change your ability to articulate your thoughts clearly. So without further ado, let's dive into it. And the first point on the list is clear thinking. And you might think that your problem is that you're not able to come up with the right words at the right time, and there's something wrong with your speaking skills. But in reality, for most people, at least the ones that I've spoken with and helped, the problem is usually in your thinking. Because clear speaking and articulation comes from clear thinking. Because if you can't form the sentences in your head and you can't describe things at their fundamental level, it will be impossible for you to then be able to speak it out to other people. Because it's always harder to communicate the value than it is to have it inside of your own head. And there's a couple of ways you can improve your ability to think clearly. Because it doesn't really help you that I've told you about the problem. What has really worked well for me is journaling. And you might have heard about the habit of journaling before. And I'm not sure in which context that is. Usually it's very good for like stress management and stuff. But journaling has a profound impact on how able you are to think clearly. Because when you journal things out, you really need to slow down your brain. You really need to think about the things from a more clear perspective. So journaling, you can do it on a piece of paper. That is good. But the way I like to do it is just taking my phone, going on a walk, and doing a voice memo. So a voice journal, basically. And this has been fantastic. Not only for improving my English skills, because English is my third language. So for many years I struggled with learning English. It has absolutely improved my language skills, but also my clarity of thought. And the more you speak and the more you pay attention to the details on how you're describing things, the better your thinking will become. And the second point is vocabulary. Because a lot of times, especially if English is not your first language, your vocabulary will very much limit the way you speak. If you can't describe things with the right words, that will also limit your articulation. That is pretty obvious. So how can you improve your vocabulary? Well, read more books. Listen to more podcasts. Listen to harder materials. And every time you encounter a new word, there's a word you haven't heard before, like write it down. Keep some sort of list of words that you want to learn and implement. And then slowly but surely, every week, take a couple of new words and just start implementing them into your vocabulary. I'm thinking of some words that I've started to implement recently. I think one of them is ad hoc. So for a long time, I've kind of known what ad hoc means, but I've never really implemented in my speech. But last week, I heard it like a couple of times from different sources, and I thought to myself, well, that's a really good word to start using. Like, it really describes things very well. So now I have it on my to-do list. Before my to-do list on my phone, I've written down ad hoc, and that is a reminder for me to use that word whenever there's a situation for it. And now, because I've learned this new word, I'm able to describe things in a more articulate way. And the third thing is arena. And if I tell you arena, what are you thinking of? Nothing might come into your head right now. But what I mean with arena, and the reason I wrote arena, is that this is the most important point. And I want you to remember this. And this is why I haven't written anything else. And that is, be the man in the arena. Okay? Be the man in the arena. And what do I mean by be the man in the arena? By that, I mean that you want to be the person who puts in the reps. You have to put in the reps if you want to get good at articulation. And it's not only that you want to speak more, but you want to be very conscious of the way you speak, of the amounts of details you have when you speak to someone or to a crowd or you do a video or whatever. But you have to put in the reps. And this is where something like voice journaling or writing things on a piece of paper is great. Because a lot of things, this is on the same point. A lot of things that you speak about, let's say you want to implement some more storytelling into your speaking. Most stories, when you haven't really articulated a single time, will be very messy in your head. You have a lot of thoughts in your head that are very messy and they are not very clear to you. And you don't know about the holes in your armor. You don't know that you don't know all the details of a story or of some fact or some quote. But just repeating that and telling the same story over and over again, you will become better at it. You will learn how to tell that story well and how to articulate those sentences. So a great thing to do is to just speak more, because the more you speak and the more stories you tell over and over again, the more facts, the more things that you phrase in the same way, the better you will become at it, and the less working memory you will need to put into those thoughts. They will become more automatic the more you speak. And the bonus tip I have for you, because this has been a video jam-packed with golden nuggets, but the bonus one is that you also have to take care of your brain. I think this is a big problem in today's world, that we want to hustle, we want to do a lot of things, but we forget to do the fundamentals. So what are the fundamentals to get your brain working properly? Well, it's sleeping, it's diet, and it's exercise. These simple things, you already know them. But I'm telling you that there is a massive difference when you have slept well, you have eaten well, and you have done some exercise. You have gotten your brain, you have gotten your body moving. Because when your body moves, your brain grooves. You know? Like, there's so many studies and research on the effects of sleep, diet, and exercise on your brain. And you will notice that when you live a good lifestyle, you keep everything healthy, and you eat fish oil, for example, that will improve your brain health and your gray matter, your brain will start working better. And when your brain works well, you might even take some coffee before you're going to speak. You will notice that you're able to connect the dots better. You're able to articulate your thoughts better, and everything just runs a lot more smooth. I hope that this was valuable for you, and if you want to take your communication to the next level, watch this video next. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.